Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share insights on what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fumey, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. I'd like to welcome Grant Clayton to the show. Grant of the 1% list. Grant, welcome.
Thanks, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you.
Thanks, man. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. So, okay. I'm super excited to have you on the show today. You've had such an interesting journey on what even brought you to starting 1% list. Can you share for the audience sort of what were tell us about the seeds that were planted in your journey? What got this whole thing started?
Sure. Like you, I was a sports guy. I was a basketball coach and, loved it. But there's parts of it that I didn't love. It's like, you have the love-hate part of your job, right? So I love working, turning young boys into young men, having them become more responsible people, ready for college, all the things that sports provides to people, more confidence, more self-determination. I loved all that, but I hated the bureaucracy. I hated the, parents. I guess I'll just come out and say it. And so, a crazy thing happened. I got married and we decided to move, and we hired the number one real estate agent in our market. We just had a really, really bad experience. And when we had a bad experience, we said, okay, like some things you feel like is not under your agent's control, but some of it we felt like it was, like how we felt. We felt like that was a little bit more in their control. And so we decided to get into real estate. Obviously you're in your 20s, you don't know anybody. You move to a new market, you have no family, no friends there, get into real estate. So that's what we did. And, we failed miserably our first year and decided that, we didn't like some of the things that were being taught to us once we got into real estate. We're like, hey, we're being taught to say and think and do some of the things that we didn't like when we were the public, when we were the clients. So we decided to, shuffle on down the road and do something just remarkably crazy and different and really try to have a better value proposition for our clients, really try to save them money and still do a phenomenal job. And, pretty soon everybody says, well, that's bad for the industry. But I'm like, I'm making great money now, more than I ever thought I would. And my clients are thrilled because they're saving some money. And so how can it be great for the real estate agent and great for their client, but bad for the industry? Like, under what industry is that even possible? I couldn't fathom that, but I kept hearing it a lot. And so finally got tired of hearing it. It's like, you know what, if I'm going to be the bad guy, I might as well just be the bad guy. And so we decided to see how vocal we could be. And so we lowered our fee even more, and we launched a company based around what we charge people to be a full service real estate agent. 1% is what we charge for this housing. Very polarizing. The public loves us. A lot of real estate agents hate us, but once they see what we do and figure it out, they come around.
Of course. Well, you were like the new villain, right? To the real estate industry. Okay, yeah. So I want to step back there for a moment here on the kind of the concept was born though when you and Kelly were just married, right? And you go to buy your first house, or actually you go to sell your first house, right? And right. You feel like you're being taken by a couple different realtors, and you're like, wait a minute, this is crazy. I love how founders see a gap in the marketplace, and you see screaming opportunity, and you seize the market. Like you don't care. Sometimes it's best when you don't know what you don't know, and you go in without these preconceived notions of, I can't start this business. Like you didn't go in with I can't start this because A, B, C, or D. You went in with this is crazy. We are dealing with these realtors that are, in one case, if I remember reading it right, one realtor said that she wouldn't take 1% less, otherwise she won't market.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's basically what we were told. What we were told was, whenever we went to go sell that original house, we interviewed one agent who charged 5%, and we interviewed another agent who charged 6%. We were trying to understand, like, it's like, imagine if you're shopping for a Chevy versus a Cadillac. It's the same car, but one of them is way nicer than the other ones. And so it's like, if you ask, it's like, so why are you a Cadillac and not a Chevy? Because I see you're definitely charging Cadillac prices. And when when what you get back is not a list of accomplishments and successes and everything else, it's really just like a threat. That's when you're like, whoa, like, how is this okay? And then you start asking yourself, how are you the number one agent in the market and this is okay? And if you're the number one agent in this market and you find this strategy works, what the hell is with the industry that you're in, if that makes sense?
Right.
It's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this. It's like, imagine if a department store came out and said, shop with us or you're an It's like, no, that doesn't work. That's not good marketing. That doesn't make people feel good. It makes me feel horrible. But that was what was said to us. And then whenever we got into the industry, we were taught to say the same thing that was said to us. And I was like, no, this is specifically why I got into it, was because I didn't want to be that. And I saw how successful that was. And I just said, man, imagine if we just started putting ourselves in our clients' shoes. And so that's really when we started to realize there was not a place out there that catered to what we wanted. There was not a brokerage that existed that focused on the client. They're focused on the real estate agent. And a lot of times the real estate agent and client, they want to think they're on the same side, but they're really not. When you hire a real estate coach, and that real estate coach, part of their job is teaching you how to pull more fees out of a client, I would argue you're not on team client. You know what I mean?
Right. That's brilliant. What I love is that you put yourself in the customer's shoes, which as an entrepreneur, so many business owners, they just start breathing in their own fumes and they lose perspective of the actual customer experience. And your experience was born out of being the customer. That's all the premise of the whole business. But I'm sure that since our audience are folks that are looking at franchise opportunities, I would imagine that one of the questions people would say is, okay, I understand why customers would want to be a customer of the 1% list, right? But why would a broker or an agent, when they can get so much more money, why would they want to charge only 1%?
Well, there's a couple of things that play there. First of all, we are the only industry that I know of where real estate agents value themselves based on what they charge, not what they make. Like, you're a sports guy. Let's say, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes signs a new contract. The ticker is not going to come across ESPN. Patrick Mahomes getting $35,000 per pass. It's always Patrick Mahomes earns this on an annualized basis with this much guaranteed, and here's what he's making annually. And yet we have real estate agents who value themselves based on what they are able to charge. Now, they might only charge it 3 times a year because they only do 3 deals a year. The average agent only does 4 or 5 deals a year. And so, it doesn't take somebody, Oppenheimer is current. It doesn't take somebody inventing the atom bomb and splitting the atom to realize that 1.7% 30 times is better than 3% 3 times.
Sure.
That's pretty elementary math. And so for us, the very simplistic thing, the very simple way of looking at it is, listings are the answer to every problem in real estate. If you want more buyers, you should get more listings. If you want a better work-life balance, you should get more listings. If you want a better long-term pipeline and steer, get more listings. If you want more listings, get more listings. If you want to make more money, get more listings. So listings is the key to everything.
That's the primary role of the franchisee, is get the listing.
Get listings. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's just get listings, because listings is going to provide all these other things for you. And so really the whole point of it is, and I've asked a million real estate agents this question. I tell them, I'm like, if I could be your fairy godmother in real estate and I could wave a magic wand and say, you can have one listing at 3% right now, or 3 listings at 1%, which one's better for you? And I have yet to have a single one not understand the difference there. Right. They understand that having 3 listings at 1% is better. Okay, because they understand they're building in fear. Where we lose them is they think, well, if I take 3 listings at 1%, then I can work that sphere and send them recipes and football schedules, and then I can talk them into a higher commission later. Like, yeah, if you want to make your life harder, you can do that. Or you could just continue to offer outstanding value and outstanding service at a really low fee, and then keep building that pipeline until you have a massive pipeline of buyers and sellers and people sending you business. It's
right. So
a different way to run the business.
Right. Totally different. So one of the things that, look, I come from a business where the perceived barrier to entry was very low. And so people thought, well, why can't I just do this business? Like, why do I need the franchise? So of course, if there are thousands and thousands of real estate brokers out there, what is the distinct advantage of being a 1% list franchisee over just doing it themselves? So why don't you share with the audience what's preventing a broker from saying, I'll just do that? Why do you have 40 franchises already sold in 3 years? That's, by the way, that is incredible.
Nothing's stopping. Like, I have copyrights and trademarks on our logos and all those things, but I don't have a copyright and trademark on charging 1%. Anybody can do it.
Well, it's no different than McDonald's. They didn't trademark the actual hamburger, right? But they have a system. Right. So obviously people are buying your system. So I would love, I don't want you to give away the secret sauce, but I would love to hear, what is that inspiring difference that your franchisees that your potential franchisees are saying, Grant, I want to do this?
For starters, we make it incredibly affordable. So to open one of our offices turnkey is $15,000. I don't think you could create a legit real estate brokerage for yourself for much less than that. But along with that comes a name that matters. And then our royalty is only 5%, and we don't really charge any other fees. And we're getting ready to charge a really small fee for a tool called KV4 that will allow every agent of ours across the country to have their own website, their own CRM, their own apps, all these things. And it's something where we want to offer it to all of our agents for free. And so we're charging our franchisees a really small fee for it. But I mean, this is software that an individual agent would pay $800, $900 a month for. And we're offering it to entire offices for $160. I mean, it's dirt cheap. And so really the whole point is that when you are doing something very different, and when you have a very different value proposition, you're no longer convincing the world. You're not out there trying to say, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. You're saying, hey, I exist. And if you interview me, you'll understand that I'm the best. Okay. I have more experience. I have more market knowledge because I do more deals. I have all these things, not to mention I'm very affordable. Once you get the interview, they understand you're the best, but you've got to get that interview. And so unfortunately, there's a lot of ego and vanity in our industry. And so like if Frank has a great idea for real estate brokerage, well, it's Frank's Realty and it's Frank, and Frank's face is the logo. It's all about Frank, 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 Frank. But it's with us, it's not about that. It's every other agent in the world is pushing their face and pushing their logo. They're pushing, but it doesn't have any value, it doesn't have any meaning. It looks like somebody, I don't know, I hope I don't get sued for this. It looks like somebody recreated Chip and Joanna Gaines' Magnolia Works for a logo. It's like everybody rehashing and redoing the same thing, but it has no value because behind the scenes, every client looks at them and says, you charge this to do the same thing as everybody else, just like everybody else does. And so for us, what we're really good at between the digital marketing, we partnered with a digital marketing company that specializes in real estate. We have on-staff graphic designers that work for all of our people for free making content. What we're really good at is letting the world know we exist. And when you have something truly groundbreaking and different, that's your hurdle to jump. For your typical agent, charging the same and doing the same as everybody else, they have to convince you to love them. That's why they send you birthday cards and bottles of wine and all the things they do. It's like, you love me, you really love me. That's why you can hire me, you love me. Because you can hire anybody, and we're all going to charge you the same, so you got to love me. For us, it's like, hey, we exist, and we're just here to do a great job and save you money. But convincing the public you exist that's the trick. It's not easy to do. I mean, what's the best analogy? I'm a big golfer. If I saw a $600 driver brand new for $200 on Google, I would say, that's a scam. You have to be able to provide something so professional and so unique and so well marketed and so clear and well spoken that the public says, holy cow, it's legit, it's a thing. And this is a legit competitor. This is the same thing that they're selling for $600, but it's $200. And I'm not going to be an idiot. I'm at least going to talk to this person, but it can't feel scamming. You know what I mean? It's got to feel like a legit thing.
And you've evidently
with
done that.
It takes time and effort and money and a lot of things. And so it's a lot easier to buy that process than it is to try to invent it on your own. There's thousands of companies that do what we do. They just don't do it very well.
Sure. Well, you've evidently done that. And if I was just looking at some awards, I mean, you've been, you guys have been ranked in the Inc. 5000, right? You're the third fastest growing real estate brokerage in America. So in order to be a franchisee, I assume I just need to be an agent, right?
You need to be an agent, eligible to be a broker. So they have different levels with real estate. You have agents, and in different states, they call them different things. It's either an agent and then a broker, or a broker and then a broker in charge. But you basically have to have that designation where you can own your own office.
Okay.
Or have somebody ready to fill in and be the broker in charge of your office for you. Either way, it's fine.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the training and support? I know that's a huge deal when it comes to being an agent, being part of the brokerage. Like, what are you doing for me? What, again, you guys are growing so fast. I'm really curious on this training and support that you're providing franchisees.
Sure. So there's a host of things. We're overhauling our entire process right now to make it to where corporate actually does more and more training. Our goal is to make it to where the local broker, broker in charge, they're responsible for making sure your documents are done right, because everybody's documents are different across the country. And they're responsible for keeping people out of trouble. What we're responsible for is, taking you from the valley to the mountaintop. We're here to make you amazing producers. And we provide the technology, we provide the training of the technology, the graphic designers, we provide everything you need to do that. We teach you how to do it. You just got to do it. And the reason is because we've figured out what works. We have a repeatable process where we figured out, okay, this person has a great sphere and they are like a celebrity on their local social media. Here's how you take this person from point A to point B and make them making more money than they ever thought they'd ever make. And this person's more introverted, and this person doesn't have a huge social media sphere. This is the roadmap for them to get from point A to point B. And for most of our franchisees, they start out as good producers. And then we take them and turn them into amazing producers. And a lot of them don't want to give up that revenue. They want to keep making that money, but every agent that they add, that agent becomes more and more needy. And so for us, if we can teach them, if I can teach an agent how to convert a sell by owner or do whatever else, then that means that franchisee can remain doing what they need to do, which is either doing a deal or recruiting another agent. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so really what we're adapting to is we're going to have an onboarding process in which everybody gets in our learning management system. Everybody gets their website, CRM set up for them. Everybody gets video content, social media content created for them as soon as they join by our graphic design team, and the playbook on how to do it. We're going to provide all that. They just got to keep their documents straight and out of trouble and get another agent and another agent. It's a way to streamline the process, I would say.
Sure. How long does it take for a new franchisee to get up and running?
It depends on the franchisee. If we have one who's Johnny on the spot with, we're going to send them documents, for example, to get all the listings syndicated on their website that we built for them. So we build them a website that comes in with 15 grand. It's not free, but part of 15 grand is they added fees and say, when we send you documents saying, hey, we need this done, if you get it done, we can get them up and running in 10 days. Wow. But if you take 3 months because you can't get your stuff done, then you think, you're on your schedule. I can tell you, I'm going to get you moving as fast as your company moving.
Right.
That's my goal. If you buy an office from me, I want it up and running and making you money sooner.
Right. So you founded the company really back in 2015. Is that right? Yeah,
we basically created the LLCs and everything in 2015 and really went soft launch then and really went nuts basically.
But you've been franchising now for 3 years. So you've seen, I don't want to say good and bad, but let's face it, not everybody is going to be successful. I'll be the first one to admit that. So what I would love to know is, what are some of the traits that you feel have been amongst your most successful franchisees? What are some of those traits of those?
Imagine being very confident, and this is going to sound like an oxymoron. They are confident in themselves. They're confident in their skin. They don't need my business model to succeed. They've been successful. So they've achieved a high level of success without the easy button, so to speak, that our business model provides. But they decide they want it. They decide they want to build. They don't want to build a big career for themselves. They want to build an empire. They want to change their market. Like they want to really disrupt something. And when you get that type of person who has, the ideal candidate has all those qualities, but yet they will still understand, hey, I'm coming here to do something different. And they'll listen. They're headstrong, but they'll listen. They're moldable, but they're also self-determined. And it's hard to find a balance of those things. Because we've had them, they come in and they're like, I don't know, they buy a franchise and the first thing they want to do is fix everything we're doing wrong. And I'm like, hey, I didn't buy your franchise, you bought mine. And you bought in because of what you succeeded in doing. So maybe before you fix us, maybe you learn from us and learn why we do things this way. We've had those that are just impossible to teach, impossible to learn. They just, I don't even know why. It's like they bought a Chick-fil-A and said, hey guys, let's make pizza. It's like, no, you're here for the chicken.
Yeah, I know it's a system, right? Michael Gerber talks about this in the E-Myth. You're buying a system when you buy a franchise, and again, I can't repeat this enough. 40 franchises in 3 years, dude. That's impressive. So you guys are doing something right.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to pigeonhole them into doing it my way. Sure. I tell everybody, if you want to go as complex as you want to be with creating sales funnels, which leads to CRMs and circular sales funnels and remarketing and pixel remarketing across social media and Google, we can do all that. We can do it all very cost effectively. But if you want the best billboards and park benches and postcards, guess what? We can do that too. And I don't care how you run your office, but you're buying into our way of thinking with listing more houses, offering more value, being loud about that. You don't want to hide. A lot of real estate agents, unfortunately, they equate what they charge to how good they are. It could not be further from the truth. It's like offering a discount doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you charge less. And, I tell the people that tell me that, it's like, if you find $100 on the street, it's still worth $100, even though you found it and you didn't have to earn it. And so we've had them that they want to come in and go, well, I don't want to say I'm a discount realtor. But why would you join? That's the point of being here. Right. The entire point. Give the public what they really want.
Yeah. What's been your biggest surprise, though, would you say, since franchising 3 years ago? What's something you're like, man, I wasn't expecting this?
Just how far back you have to step to see things.
Expand on that.
All right. When I started out, all I wanted to do was be a real estate agent. And then I wanted to be a top producer. And then I wanted to do this crazy thing. And then, we did an interview with Follow Up Boss and we mentioned franchising, and then that sent us down this path. But at each step, it's only been, it gets 1,000 times more important at each step to take a big walk backwards so you can see what you're doing. You really have to understand how to break things down to a very basic, repeatable level. And what you learn is, especially in our industry, you'll have people who they're horrible at paperwork. They're horrible at keeping up with themselves, but they'll go produce a mountain of deals because that's them. And honestly, that was me. I create chaos all day long, and my team, led by my wife, orders that chaos. And so just understanding how simple we had to think and how unbreakable of a process you have to make in order to keep things running when you're filled up with people creating chaos, and then you add tons of volume to that chaos, which is the whole point of doing this, is to do a massive amount of volume. It requires a level of thinking that it's so different. To just be able to look at something, and I have my team around me sometimes saying, this is a simple process. Anybody can do this. I was like, well, it's not simple enough, because we have some people who are not. And if they're struggling with it, if they don't like it, then it's not right. I don't care how much y'all love it. I don't care how good it is. Mm-hmm. It has to change because it's not simple enough. It's not perfect enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the strive, is to find that. And that'll keep you up at night.
Well, we're only as good as our team right around us. Tell me about your team.
Oh my gosh. So I'm kind of the crazy guy with all the crazy ideas. And
every company needs one, by the way. As a fellow crazy entrepreneur, founder that wants to do everything now.
So, without me and my wife, there wouldn't be a 1% risk, but probably my crazy self, there wouldn't be a 1% risk. But without my wife turning that craziness into a scalable thing, we wouldn't be talking right now. I would probably be doing 60, 70 deals in my market, maybe 100, who knows? But it would have never gotten better. It would have never scaled. It would have never proceeded without Kelly finding a way to make something out of all that mess. And when we first started, like our first year or two was very hard because it was just me. And there was nothing to manage. There was nothing to scale and grow yet because it was just me making a mess all day long. And her frustrated looking at my mess and me frustrated looking at my mess because I had no interest in cleaning up my mess. I just had an interest in making more mess. But slowly, like more agents joined and her role became more and more prominent. And now, I mean, she does way more than me for the company.
Oh, that's great.
She really does. She makes it all work. Dean Castioko with One Click SEO, he's been with us since before we even launched. He basically runs a digital marketing company specializing in real estate. Charles Rennick joined us. He's our CFA. He's a brilliant guy, and he and Kelly work a lot together. But, there's a lot of things. Our guy Ren, with making all the graphic content that we make. Either me or one of our agents or franchisees will get some crazy idea. Hey, we need this, and we need to put it everywhere. And his job is to figure out how to make it look right, how to make it work, and then how to replicate it across hundreds of agents. So where every agent has it for nothing. Just go download it and start using it. And here's how you use it. Like it takes a pretty amazing team to make all that gel and work.
It does.
A lot of times it's ground years, but once they stop grinding, they start going pretty fast.
Right. Well, look, for you, I mean, it starts at home. I mean, having Kelly involved, and her strength is your weakness, right? I mean, that's the beauty of it. And my wife, Nadine, same thing. She's supported me from day one, everything I wanted to do. And she was also the voice of reason. I'd come home and tell her I'm thinking this, that, the next thing. And it was great that she saw it from an outside perspective because she wasn't in the office. And at the same time, though, I had folks in my office that their strengths were definitely my weakness. And they were the ones that keeping me in check as well. But I think it's beautiful that Kelly's been part of this thing since day one, part of the vision, she felt the pain that you felt when you guys were selling your first home and going through it. But the fact that her skill set just happened to be exactly opposite of yours, it just makes it all the more beautiful. It makes the machine run, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like one of the weird things that I'll do is I have conversations all day long with tons of people, and I wind up just texting myself something. And what you talked about was something that I texted myself the other day, and we added it to a training video for our new franchisees of, hey, if you're thinking about bringing in a business partner or hiring your first hire your audit. Like, go sit down with a glass of wine and have a realistic appraisal of yourself. You realize you're great at this and you suck at this. And the person who's great at this and Mike's doing it, that's who you need. And, that's the yin to the yang, and that's Kelly. I mean,
absolutely. That's great.
Pretty awesome. I mean, I was what made the company go, and she's what makes it go everywhere it goes now. It's pretty fun to watch.
That's awesome.
I just hope she doesn't fire me every day.
Well, you have a distinct advantage. I mean, I always tell people, my feeling is that the number one decision that an entrepreneur can make to really grow their business is hire for their weakness. And in your case, you didn't have to hire for your weakness. You were married to her.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see pictures of her in the background.
That's beautiful.
William and Emily, and there's Kelly back there. And it's crazy. I got my son, he wears 1% list shirts all over the place. It's fun. It's become a family thing, which is great. Like we have a crawfish boil every year, but people just, hey, show up, bring your kids, have a good time. Like it's definitely a family operation, and it's weird because on the one hand, we get a very bad rap from some of the other agents and, we get hated and everything else. But on the other hand, people will say, look, the reason you hate them is because you don't know franchise. If you knew them, if you knew what they were doing, if you sat down with them, you might disagree with what they do, but you're not going to hate them. Pretty hard to hate them. You know what I mean? We're not bad folks. We're just It's part of our training. I tell people, go do something very controversial without being so damn controversial. And I struggled with that for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, Grant, never forget that criticism is the tax you pay for being successful. Absolutely.
I agree, man. It's, I could tell you a very funny story about that if you want.
Go ahead, please.
We started running, it's a little crude. We started running a national ads for opening franchises. And we had an agent about 3 hours away from us call us all prostitutes, right, for doing what we do. And so you have to understand, like, you know, first of all, that's against Realtor Code of Ethics, but I don't care. Like, that doesn't bother me. And we've had it happen before when people start talking bad about us. And I'll get the private messages and the texts saying, oh, they're not allowed to say that. Like, you should report them. And I was like, I feel like I should buy them lunch. And I said, I appreciate all the free press. And so whenever that agent said that about us, I didn't turn her in. I took a screenshot of it. I put it up on all of our social media feeds. And I said, if doing a great job for our clients and saving them money makes us prostitutes, then I guess I'm just, you know, I guess I'm just working the corner. And I'm okay with that because I'm here for you guys. I'm not here for their feelings. And if I hurt their feelings by doing a great job for my clients and saving them money, if that's how our agents operate, like if that makes us degenerates, then by God, we're degenerates. Yeah. And that's okay. Out of that spawned the craziest, most viral conversations. You had the public fighting with the real estate agents. I had like a random, like 10:30 at night call from a local lender saying, you know, the real estate agents, they don't hate you. They just don't understand how you can make money, which got my gears turning. I was up to like 3 a.m. So I created a focus group all night. And I was like, I'm going to go find all these agents who hate my guts and have all these objections, and I'm going to invite them all to focus groups. And at the end of the focus group, one of them was like, I want you. And then one of them was like, I want you on my podcast. And then a couple other ones joined our brokerage. And it was like, you know, I appreciate the negativity, you know, as long as the negativity comes from our peers, not from the public, I'm happy.
Right.
It means you're doing something.
You are a disruptor, and people don't like disruptors. You're screwing with the good old boy network there. It sounds like just a little bit. So, what's your vision, Grant? How big is big?
Hundreds of offices. We're hoping that we're at 70 by the end of the year, 60, 70. We're starting to recalibrate a little bit because we've been focused on opening other markets, but we're starting to get into some of the bigger markets, like we're in Orange County, California. We're getting ready to open 2 in Atlanta. And so to me, I once had a goal of, hundreds and hundreds of offices, and that's still the goal, let's be honest. But I don't want hundreds of mom and pops. I want, we were up at 40, 50 agents. They're doing hundreds of deals. That's what I want to see. I want to see strong, thriving offices where other agents are going to work from other traditional brokerages. Like, they're choosing us as a viable option. And we see that happening where we have strong leadership, good producers. Like, where it starts first is great production, proving the model. And then agents will start to trickle in because agents only move to make more money. And your average agent, they think, for your average agent, what they think is, oh, well, I need better splits and caps. Basically, I need to keep more of my commission. That's going to mean more money. What we're trying to convince them is, no, what you need is more listings. And the best way to do that is to have a better value proposition. And if you get more listings, you're going to make more money annually, which should be the goal. What you make per year and what you have to do to make it, not what you make the deal, because you might not do enough deals. And so getting those offices to 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 agents, like, that's the goal. And so, definitely rolling out more value to the agent, better training for the agent. Every agent can log on to the intranet we built and book an appointment with me at any time. Being at those agents' disposal to make sure those agents grow is the key to making our franchisees happy. That's why they come here. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of companies like ours across the country that's got one person, maybe 2 working there that does pretty good. If that's what you want, go do it. Come to us if you want 20, 30, 40 agents and you want to be able to stop producing for yourself one day, and have a successful business. That's what we're out to make. And,
what states are you in right now?
About 20.
About 20. And are you, did you franchise? Are you registered in all the states? Are you eligible?
Everyone. So we're in everyone other than Maryland and New York and California.
Okay.
Now we do have an office in California because they were a successful enough entrepreneur that the franchise laws provided a loophole to where they could own one without going through the typical process. But California, Maryland, and New York is the only ones we're waiting on, and we're actively working on them.
And then it's go time from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a great guy named Dustin who, he reaches out to agents we close deals with, and he reaches out to brokers, so smaller offices and people doing what we do. Just try to get them an appointment with me and try to get them to join us. Yeah. So once the gloves come off with him and we're open up everywhere, we're gonna have a lot going on. You know, as of right now, we're starting to roll out with every agent we close a deal with. We're going to try to recruit nationwide. So I'm going to be a very busy guy, but looking forward to it.
That's great.
Yeah.
What would you say? What would you say is a advice or a message that you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs considering joining you guys? Like what would be something you would say that you think is an important part of your mission?
Find people you trust that you can bounce ideas off of. Find people who have been there and done that, but also find people who are in the process of doing that. I've got a circle of people around me. I mean, other than my team and my wife, I've got like Jared Miguez, people like that. He runs a local title company and he's scaling it like crazy, and he's really just breaking the mold for being an amazing title company. Having people like that around you that are going through the same things you are going through in different areas can give you great advice because they will see your business from 50,000 feet. And they're probably seeing the same problems that you have, but they're just seeing them in a different vein. That's big. Make sure you have a legit business, not a hobby. You know, if you want to do something that won't scale and won't make money, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. Once you've satisfied those two things, honestly, it's don't take no. People who know me would say that I wake up every day with a chip on my shoulder that someone else put there, and if not, then I'm walking around with the chips.
Yeah, you've got this hunger, you've got this resilience, grit that comes through loud and clear. Is there a pivotal moment in your life or an influence from your past that made you who you are? Because I don't get that you were just, I mean, obviously we're born a certain way, resilience or grit, but there's something that influenced you or something that's really made you who you are.
I mean, I would love to tell you something. I mean, it's like I'm a product of divorce. It wasn't anything that remarkable growing up. I was a really good basketball player, played way too many video games, probably had the same amount of general girlfriends as every other guy out there. I mean, I'm not special. It's really just a situation where I have always been the type that, I mean, I almost didn't graduate high school. I almost didn't graduate college. And it's not because I'm not smart enough. It's because I would show up to class with no books, no book bag, no pen, no paper, just listen. And the entire time somebody is speaking, I am continually arguing that point in my head on the pro and on the con. Okay, I'm just, that's how my brain works, and it's never stopped. And I am the type that I will, if I feel I'm right, and if I'm always going to do the noble and right thing, and if I feel that, I mean, blue in the face is not an accurate enough description of what you're going to get out of it.
Well, you're a classic gritty Gen Xer entrepreneur. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. And I was told what I could and could not do. And I was told what was good and bad for me and good and bad for my clients and good and bad for lots of other things. And I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. And it touched the nerve with me. And it's one of those things where I have no problem telling people, like, the real estate industry for so long, everybody's playing nice. Everybody's more or less doing the same thing, more or less charging the same fees. There's no standard, but everybody's more or less got a handshake and not agreement. We're going to do the same things the same ways and everything else. And all this newfound technology came out to make real estate brokerages more efficient. And everybody uses those technologies to offer the realtor a better split or a better commission pack. Here, realtor, like, you keep more of this money. And I'm just sitting here saying, what about client? What got me started on this is I was a disgruntled client. I felt like I'd been railroaded by the number one agent in my market. That is a problem. And then as this technology comes out, none of it comes out and is leveraged to make the client happy. All the brokers take the technology and say, how can we make more agents happy so we can bring in more agents? Okay, well, how about take those agents and get them worried about their fiduciary, which is the client. Get them all in on you. And we have fought tooth and nail. We've had people try to shut us down. We've had people try to do a million things. Okay. And at the end of the day, we've reached a point where everybody is starting to see the industry for what it is. That's why there's so many lawsuits flying around. And the more they complain about this, the more happy we become because the more well we're known. And I tell everybody, it's like, we're here to be seen. We're here. We need to let them know we exist. Like in a real estate pond of tons of cute little ducks, we're here to be the annoying loud goose.
You are a classic gritty guy that you're the kind of person I want on my team, and I don't want to face you as my opponent. That's the exact, the kind of teammate. If you go back to our sports days, you are definitely the kind of guy I want on my team. I don't want to face you because you do have that edge about you that's going to challenge. And I think that's awesome, obviously. And you're the kind of person that is a disruptor. Somebody that doesn't have your personality is not going to disrupt an industry and be afraid. But at the same time, though, I'm going to venture to say, look, you've come a long way. You've been doing this a while. You've developed a franchise system. You're at the point, though, in your career where you have to collaborate with franchise owners. So I'm going to venture to say, though, that you have matured over the years and you do listen as well. Like, franchising is a two-way street, because I don't want people to get the perception like, oh my God, he's just going to ram this stuff down my throat. I don't get that from you. What I do get is that you're the kind of founder, CEO that says, hey guys, I'm going to die on the vine for this company. I'm going to do what's right, not necessarily what's popular. But I would imagine to have the kind of growth you had, you would not have gotten to 40 franchises if you were the guy that just told people, this is how you're going to do it, and that's it. And I see you shaking your head no. So I want you to share with the audience a little bit of how you have matured over the years, and you are collaborative, because you would never have gotten this far if you were not.
Yeah. So for a long time, it was me against the world. And that's probably shining through on this podcast. It was me against the world. And then it became Kelly and I and our team against the world. And then slowly but surely it turned into, hang on, this doesn't have to be me against the entire real estate industry. What it needs to be is us against the norm that is not good for the client. I got this younger guy who's came on with us. His name is Sam. And Sam kind of had an intervention with me one day. And he was like, he calls me on the team. He's like, OJ, we are not a local company anymore. And he said, you need to take I and me and all these things that are singular out of your vocabulary. He's like, it's not you against the world. He said it was us against the industry that is not out on behalf of the client. And, it was weird. And I was like, you are so right. And so the people that choose to leave that old way and come over to us to do this disruptive, crazy new way, I work for them. They tell me this is what I need, and that's what we do. Like we were talking about earlier, if it's not easy enough and simple enough and perfect enough to where they feel like, if they feel like they have a burden, then I have a problem with that. And so generally, I'm the biggest advocate for them with our team, because I'm like, hey team, I understand we have a system that works for 90% of them and they like it, but we've got 10% that they feel like this is a burden and this is annoying them, and that has to be fixed. It just does. And so it's like, we definitely have that sense of we now work for our agents and our franchisees. But I've still got that kind of wild hair where it's me against the real estate world sometimes. And I don't think that's necessarily the worst. As long as my people understand, we're we are simultaneously a monster to the real estate industry and mama bear to them. Here to help them, whatever the hell they need to do.
Of course, but this gives you your edge, and don't ever lose that edge. Yeah.
I don't think that's possible.
No, I don't think you're going to lose your edge either. Okay. I do want to finish with something else, and that is this. I have found in the 20 years I've been in franchising, the community is so generous. I've been to, several franchise conferences, and I'm amazed by the leaders of different franchise brands so giving of information and just tidbits. Sure. And you've had this enormous success in a short time. Would you be so generous in sharing, maybe call it the tip jar, but would you share maybe a pearl of wisdom or best practice for maybe an aspiring franchisor? It doesn't have to be in real estate, but just in general. What would you suggest, or what would you share with an aspiring franchisor that has their business, their dream that they want to franchise? What would you say to that person?
Number one, make a little focus group of really smart people that you trust and really analyze your business. You analyze it yourself to find the strengths and weaknesses, understand where you grow and what makes you tick, and understand what doesn't make you tick. Know where your profit centers are and know where everything else is. Going beyond that, understand what differentiates you from your peers. So the other company is doing what you do. Know what makes you different. And make sure that it's something that will scale and that will launch and truly be different when it's not just you. That was the thing. It was like, for us, okay, we can make this work, but it's me and Kelly. Like, can we make this work if it's not me and Kelly? Can we make it work if it's somebody who's maybe not as good as us, or maybe is not as financially secure as us, or maybe somebody who has a totally different personality than me and Kelly? Can it work without me? Can it work without Kelly? We had to figure out all those things. And so you really have to analyze, as a potential franchisee, you have to analyze all those things and really understand your business at a level that you don't probably currently understand it. And you need input from others to make you understand it in that way, because how you see yourself is drastically less important than how others see you. Because they're the ones that's going to bring you the money. They're the ones that's going to bring the business. And so understanding how everybody else sees you from the outside, I think, is very important. Have a bigger budget than you think, because starting with a franchise is not cheap. Much bigger budget than you think.
Amen.
And I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Learn how the process works, learn how franchise and state documents work, registration states, non-registration states. I mean, understand all those things. Get a good lawyer around you. I have a great lawyer, William Baggett, out in Nashville, Tennessee. All he does is franchise law. Find your Roland or Paul Roland. That's great. Wow. Yeah, you need a whole team around you. I mean, look, Go to grantclayton.com, book an appointment with me. I'll answer whatever questions anybody has. A lot of people help me get there. And literally, there's a website, grantclayton.com. You click there and book an appointment with me, and I'll answer any question anybody wants anytime. We're not secretive people. And that, honestly, that goes to the real estate industry professionals too. I'm a big believer that, like in Star Wars films, it's the light side versus the dark side. I'm going to come here and talk to you about my side. I think you'll love it once you learn about it.
I think so. That's awesome.
I'll tell you everything I do. There's no secrets.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. Like I said, I found that the community is very, very giving, and it's Absolutely. Unique. If somebody is interested in your franchise opportunity, how can they learn more? Where should they go?
Yeah, franchise.1%list.com. So if you go to franchise.1 and then the word percent and then the word lists, LISPS.com, you'll find us. You can also look me up on social media, contact me there. You can go to grantclayton.com. We're pretty easy to find. We've been doing a lot of SEO over the years, so we're pretty. If you search for us, you're gonna find us. But yeah, franchise.1%list.com. There's a ton of video content on there. There's a ton of stuff on there. And honestly, if you go there and you click book an appointment, you can book an appointment directly on my calendar. Whether you're interested in joining as an agent or opening up a franchise, or whether you're, I don't know, got the best whatever the hell in the world, you figure out how to franchise it, I'm happy to help.
Grant, thank you so much for being on the show and contributing so many cool facts and just contributing in general in franchising.
The world. I feel like either you should come to me or I should come to you and we should have a beer. I feel like I've been talking the whole time, but I haven't learned anywhere near enough about you. I'm sure your listeners know a lot about you, but I feel like I need to hang out with you.
I would love to hang out with you for sure. Well, at least at a franchise conference or something. I hope to see you in the future.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. If you're ever in the New Orleans area, look me up.
All right. I will do that. And I'm in the Tampa Bay area. So if you're ever here, please.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you again so much. I wish you continued success, and let's stay in touch.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.